Professor Kenji Tanaka, a renowned physicist, felt a growing unease. Despite a life dedicated to unraveling the universe's complexities, he felt lost. The equations no longer brought solace. His mind, a whirlwind of thoughts, craved stillness. He had spent years lecturing, publishing, debating. Now the accolades felt meaningless. The pursuit of knowledge, once a source of joy, had become a burden. There had to be more to life than endless equations and fleeting recognition. One evening, while browsing a bookstore, a title caught his eye: Zen and the Art of Simple Living. Intrigued, he bought the book. As he delved into its pages, a sense of calm washed over him. Could this ancient philosophy offer the answers he sought? Could it quiet his restless mind and illuminate the path to inner peace? With a mix of skepticism and hope, Kenji resolved to find out. Drawn by an inexplicable pull, Kenji found himself at the doorstep of a secluded Zen monastery, nestled amidst bamboo forests. The air hummed with the gentle whisper of wind through leaves, a stark contrast to the city's cacophony. The monastery stood as a testament to time and tradition. Its weathered wooden beams and moss-covered stone lanterns whispered stories of countless seekers who had sought refuge within its walls. The scent of sandalwood incense hung in the air, a soothing balm to his troubled mind. He was greeted by a young monk, his eyes radiating a quiet joy that disarmed Kenji. The formalities were minimal. He was shown to a simple room, sparsely furnished, yet strangely welcoming. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Kenji felt a sense of peace he hadn't realized he'd been missing. The monastery, he sensed, held a promise of answers and a path to inner harmony. The next morning, after a night of surprisingly restful sleep, Kenji was led to a small garden. There, amidst the bonsai trees and carefully raked gravel, sat the monastery's master, a man seemingly as old as time itself. Master Sato, despite his age, exuded a quiet strength. His eyes, crinkled at the corners from years of laughter and wisdom, held a spark of knowing that both intimidated and intrigued Kenji. "You seek answers, Professor," Master Sato began, his voice a low rumble. Kenji, startled that his thoughts had been read so easily, could only nod. "Tell me," the master continued, his gaze unwavering, "what fills your cup?" Confused, Kenji stammered, "My work, my research, the pursuit of knowledge." Master Sato smiled, a knowing twinkle in his eye. "And yet you are not at peace." Intrigued, Kenji spent the next few days observing the monks. Their days were filled with simple tasks: meditation, calligraphy, tending the gardens. Yet they moved with a grace and serenity that he envied. One afternoon, while watching a monk meticulously rake the gravel garden, Kenji finally voiced his confusion. "Master Sato's words about the cup," he confessed. "I don't understand." The monk smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "The mind is like a cup, Professor," he explained patiently. "If it is already full, how can you pour anything new into it?" Kenji pondered this. He had spent his life accumulating knowledge, filling his cup to the brim. Yet he had never stopped to empty it, to make room for new perspectives, for the simple beauty of the present moment. "To truly learn," the monk continued, "one must first empty their cup. Only then can they receive the wisdom that surrounds them." The next morning, Kenji joined the monks for their dawn meditation. The air was crisp and cool, the sky just beginning to lighten with the promise of a new day. He sat on the cushion, his back straight, his eyes closed. At first his mind raced, thoughts swirling like leaves caught in a whirlwind. He thought of his research, his unfinished papers, the countless tasks that awaited him back in the city. But as he focused on his breath, slowly inhaling and exhaling, a sense of calm began to settle over him. He pictured his mind as a cup, slowly emptying itself of worries and anxieties. He began to notice the subtle sounds around him, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, the gentle creaking of the monastery. He had always considered silence to be the absence of sound. Now he realized it was the presence of everything. As days turned into weeks, Kenji found himself drawn deeper into the rhythm of monastery life. He learned the art of mindful breathing, of finding stillness in the midst of chaos. He discovered the beauty of simplicity in the repetitive tasks of cleaning, gardening, and calligraphy. The silence, once deafening, became a source of peace. He learned to listen not just with his ears, but with his entire being. He listened to the wind whispering through the bamboo, to the gentle patter of rain on the roof, to the quiet wisdom of Master Sato's teachings. He realized that true knowledge wasn't found in books or equations, but in the stillness of the present moment. It was in the taste of his tea, the feel of the sun on his skin, the gentle sway of the trees in the wind. One evening, while sharing a pot of green tea with Master Sato, Kenji confessed, "I spent my life searching for answers outside myself." Master Sato smiled, his eyes twinkling with understanding. "The journey to enlightenment," he said, "is not about becoming someone else, but about returning to who you truly are." Kenji understood. He had spent years building walls around himself, shielding himself with knowledge and accolades. But true peace, he realized, came from tearing down those walls and embracing the world with an open heart and an empty cup. He had come to the monastery seeking answers. He had found something far greater. He had found himself. It was time for Kenji to return to his life, to the world outside the monastery walls. As he prepared to leave, Master Sato presented him with a simple, unglazed teacup. "Remember, Professor," the master said, his voice filled with gentle wisdom, "the cup is most useful when it is empty." Kenji bowed deeply, his heart filled with gratitude. He understood the master's words. It wasn't about abandoning his work or his life, but about approaching it with a new perspective, with an open mind and a willingness to let go of preconceived notions. As he walked away from the monastery, the sun warm on his face, he felt a sense of peace he had never known before. He carried the teacup with him, a constant reminder to approach life with an empty cup, ready to receive the world's wisdom with humility and grace. Back in the bustling city, amidst the familiar chaos of his life, Kenji felt a profound shift. The world hadn't changed, but he had. He no longer sought solace in endless equations or fleeting recognition. He approached his work with a newfound sense of purpose. He taught his students not just physics, but the art of mindfulness, the importance of finding stillness in a world obsessed with speed. He spoke at conferences, not just about scientific breakthroughs, but about the interconnectedness of all things, the importance of living in harmony with oneself and the world around them. His colleagues, initially skeptical, were drawn to the quiet strength he now exuded. His students, inspired by his passion and authenticity, flocked to his lectures. Kenji Tanaka, the renowned physicist, never forgot the lessons he learned at the secluded Zen monastery. He carried the wisdom of the empty cup with him, a guiding principle that shaped his life and his work. He had discovered that true knowledge wasn't about accumulating information, but about emptying oneself of preconceptions, of approaching the world with a beginner's mind. It was about finding stillness in the midst of chaos, peace within oneself, and beauty in the simplest of things. And so, the professor who had once sought solace in the complexities of the universe found it in the profound simplicity of an empty teacup, a constant reminder of the transformative power of Zen.